Now it says we're live, by the way.
Okay, cool. All right. So yeah. So hopefully people would find this and come in, but we don't have a title for this. It just is live with Rajiv Chopra. I don't know if you can change that.
I
Um,
have no clue actually. This is, like I said, the first time I'm doing it like this.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's fine. We can always change the title after the fact when this
Yeah,
goes
I think
on
we
this thing.
can.
Yeah. So yeah, let's hope somebody comes in. But yeah, I really wanted to get to know you, Rajiv. We've been followers and subscribers for a while.
That's
Um,
right.
I am using live as an opportunity to meet a lot of people. I was just talking to all those 8 people who joined. How I started doing lives end of November, and pretty much everybody who I 3 of the 4 lives that I did, um,
Hmm.
3 of them joined that last session.
Oh,
So
okay.
so so these are people I've really never met before, right? So it's a really good opportunity, I think, to just get to know each other, support each other. I think live gives you that opportunity. I was
Yeah, it does
anxious to get started, but
because
then yeah.
yeah, because I've been, but I haven't actually sat down to watch a lot of live stuff. But a lot of the live stuff, live streaming that pops up on my stream is all about politics.
Yeah,
And
same here. You can't escape it.
these days, I'm trying to minimize my involvement with the political discourse in India and outside India.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I just think it's a bit of a no-win game.
yeah, I mean it's a crazy time that we live in, right? I mean it's which is why I think these passions that we have to write, to take photography,
Hmm.
podcasting, all these things are good ways to stay away from all that craziness that goes on around the world and kind of reflect and stick to our passions, I think.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
maybe wait it out. Um, but yeah, I just texted Larry saying we are live because so I pulled Larry in, um, and he was just wearing a banyan, right? So
Yeah, I'm wearing my night
no,
suit
no,
thing
no.
also.
He was wearing one of those half sleeve ones, right? So, so
Ah, okay. If you had caught me in summer,
yeah.
if you had caught me in summer, I'd probably be in something like that.
Yeah, so I asked him, "Hey, could you join live? Because I'm waiting on Rajiv, and then just come and give me company." He was quick to jump on, but he was so quick to jump on. He turned on his mobile phone, and he was just holding it like this, and we could just. I told him, this time to put on a t-shirt, Larry. Just why don't you put on a t-shirt? So he did, and it's cold in New York. So I mean, he's in New Jersey. It's cold, so there's no excuse for me. I'm
Yeah.
sitting inside, an air conditioned heater on, everything's on, and then I'm still, wearing
So,
this
which part
coat
of
outside.
America are you in?
I'm in Tennessee. Yeah, so I'm in Tennessee, close to Nashville, Tennessee. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm always forgetting the geography of America. But let's say my older sister lives in California.
Okay.
So I presume not next year, the year after next, I will go over to America at some point just to say hi to her.
Yeah.
And my younger sister is a professor at the University of Wisconsin at Madison.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I'm the only, let's say, schmuck who decided to stay back in India.
Have you not gone? Have you not visited the U.S. at all?
I have
Yeah.
several times actually.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Um,
You decided to stay in India. Same thing with my brothers. I have 2 brothers, and
mhm.
well, actually, they didn't decide to come to US. One went to Australia, one is in Dubai, but then they go to India quite often.
I almost became a Singaporean,
Yeah,
and if I were to choose again, I'd probably, choose to become a Singaporean rather not any other place in the world.
yeah, yeah. Everybody's trying to
Because
get out of.
yeah, well, I'm kind of more, let's say, I don't want to use the word partial, but I'm more inclined towards people in the Far East for whatever
Yeah.
reason.
No, that's. I mean, yeah. A lot of my relatives are in Singapore, and a lot of my friends went to Singapore. And the other thing is, it's closer, right? It's closer
Mhm.
to India. So hey, so we've got Alicia who's joined back. Alicia, thanks again. Alicia is one of my oldest subscribers and friends on Substack. I did my first live with Alicia. I don't know if you got a
Okay,
chance to
so let
see
me
it.
say hello, Alicia.
Yeah, she is a globe trotting house sitter.
Globetrotting?
House sitter. So she house sits for she goes around the world, gets these gigs to sit, house sit, to look after the houses of people who
Ah,
go on vacation.
I honestly
Houses,
didn't.
plants, pets, right? So basically, and she, since, I mean, the 2.5 years she and her husband have been doing this, they have gone to many, many countries. Right now, Alicia, are you in Norway? Or sorry, she was in UK for the last time we spoke. I mean, most of November, I think, Alicia. Right? But she's visited so many places, and that's how they s- they rented their house out in the U.S. and which
Mhm.
is Colorado, and then she started doing this long time ago. She's like a global citizen right now, is what she is.
Oh, and, I didn't even know that there's something called a house sitter.
Yeah, yeah, it's
So
called.
it's a completely new term for me, and I didn't even know that these things exist. But
Yeah, you should
I
listen to
think
our
it,
episode. Yeah, the first episode, not the prettiest, but then it is one of the best content that we've got about about how she uses a site called Trusted House Sitters and does this. Yeah, so
fantastic.
yeah,
Maybe that's a way for me to go at some point in my life, anyway.
that is a good way. And then I spoke to another person who joined in the last session. His name is Flavio. I don't know if you know him. He takes
Mhm.
pictures. He just came back from India, and then he volunteers and goes to different countries. So lives in Budapest, but he travels a lot of countries as a volunteer, and he gets to work
Okay.
remotely, just like Alicia gets to work remotely. And so
Hmm.
people are using all these different ways to travel, which is amazing these days. Like just to kind of be more minimalistic,
Hmm.
travel the world. That I think is really good, especially with a lot of these countries shutting down for travel, like becoming more politically, I guess, charged in terms of you don't have a lot of places that's open like before, right? So the fact that they're able to do that, I think it's really amazing. I hope I get to do it, but I can't, not that easily.
Yes. Well, I mean, for me, actually, it's a funny kind of journey into my current form of travel. Um, so since you said, let's get to know each other first, maybe you can tell me your life story as well.
Yeah.
But I sometimes tell people that I was born and thereafter I moved house.
Okay.
So my dad was in the army, and so I was born in a town called Firozpur near the India-Pakistan border.
Oh, okay.
And so, before I go further, I should, also mention that, I consider myself a member of what I call the sandwich generation. That's my personal term. Huh?
Sandwich.
Why did I say that? Is because, my family heritage now lies in Pakistan.
Oh, didn't know that.
And, so, my mom grew up in Lahore. My dad grew up in a district called Sargodha. And, we all came to, it sounds, it feels a bit strange saying this, but we came to India in
Yeah.
1947 as refugees.
Wow.
Okay.
Nice. I didn't know
And,
Chopras came. I didn't know about that. Yeah,
we are Punjabi. So we have East Punjab, now West Punjab, so West Punjab is now in Pakistan, and East Punjab, which is, it was truncated, is now, of course, in India.
yeah,
So we crossed the border, came to India as refugees in 1947.
yeah,
And so, we left everything behind.
yeah,
And so my dad joined the army. And so 1960s is when I was born in Firozpur. And then 2 years later, we moved to Bombay, moved to England for 4 years, came back to Delhi. Then I went to boarding school in the hills in Nainital, which is about 2,000 meters or 6,500 feet above sea level.
huh,
Did my engineering from the Indian Institute of Technology in Kharagpur, which is in West Bengal.
yeah,
Started my career in steel. I did actually want to move to the USA to do my PhD in corrosion. That didn't happen. And then I did my MBA, and then thereafter I kind of moved on several companies. Um, And I moved, many towns as well, huh?
Yeah.
And lived in China for 6 years, lived in Singapore for 2 years, came back to India.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah, I came back to Singapore, to India, just when I had about 3 months left before I could become eligible to become a Singaporean citizen.
Yeah.
But I came back for two reasons. One, I felt that my kids should get to know what India is about. Otherwise, they, go wherever they have to without having any sense of their roots. And secondly, I thought it's one of us has to look after our parents who are aging.
Hmm.
Um, how did I get into photography? Now, that was a very bizarre thing, actually. So, we used to work 6 days a week, um, 8 o'clock in the morning to 6 in the evening, come back, and Saturday evenings we'd be out, either consuming some psychedelic stuff or getting drunk. And
Okay.
then one night, a guy decided that he had to vomit all over me.
Oh my God.
And I looked down myself, and I was covered from, neck to shoes in vomit. And I said to myself, something has to change. This can't continue.
Mm.
You know, I did my engineering. Supposedly, I'm one of the intelligent people of the country, but this is not intelligent behavior. And I said, I need to do something with my life. And my mom was really artistic. My older sister, who lives in California, uh, is very artistic. My younger sister, who's now in
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, is
Yeah.
an architect. So I said, I have to have something artistic in me. I cannot draw at all. I
Yeah.
was so bad at drawing that my school teacher would have kicked me out of the class, but of course she couldn't. So I said, okay, photography it is. Without having a clue about what photography is, I went down to South Bombay
How long ago
and
was this?
uh, 83, 83 when I was
83.
23 years old.
Wow.
I went down to South Bombay. And in those days, we didn't have these big photography stores of, selling Nikon cameras and all these sorts of cameras.
Yeah.
So we used to buy anything that you wanted to buy, you bought from the roadside. Guys sitting on the road
Yeah.
with their smuggled stuff, and you buy the stuff from them. So I saw this Olympus OM2N camera, and I asked the price, and he quoted the price, which was half my year's salary. And I said, holy shit, I cannot afford this. So
Yeah.
so I wrote to my dad, and of course, those were the days when we didn't have WhatsApp and all that sort of stuff. So I sent him
Yeah.
a postcard. I said, Dad, I need this money. Next time he was in Bombay, he came and gave me the money. Went back to the same guy, bought the camera, and I didn't have the money to buy color film, so I started with black and white film, and didn't have the money to travel except on Sundays once in a while. So I started on the streets. So started doing black and white photography as a hobby, and black and so even today my brain works best in black and white.
Mm.
And
Yeah. I've seen some of your pictures on your Substack, and they're brilliant. I mean, amazing like the black and white photographs that I've seen. I remember seeing one of a cycle and something. I mean, there's so many amazing photos. I think that light, how you capture that light, I don't know, in black and white, I think it looks just amazing.
yeah, that's something which, like I said, is it still speaks to my soul. But what I
Mm.
usually post on my Substack blogs are reasonably quick edits, because I don't think people want very arty stuff for that. I'm not sure, but
Mm.
it's more those are more as how do I put it, as an accompaniment to the text.
Mm.
What I've started doing on the notes is actually to post some of the black and white and the other stuff as well.
Yeah.
Um, so I rose in the corporate world. I was in my last corporate position. I was president of a Dutch multinational, and got kicked out of that. By the way,
Yeah.
in India, no one likes you to say that you were kicked out. It's like bad for your reputation. But I got kicked out largely because I practically told my boss he's an idiot, and he didn't like that. But he was a member of the global managing board, so it was bye bye to me. And so then, for a few years, I decided to try consulting, and never had my heart in the consulting world.
Mm.
And there was this Russian proverb that I had read. I think it's Russian anyway. And they said, if you chase two rabbits, you're going to catch None. You just get zero.
Okay.
So at some point I said, screw it all. This happened around COVID when, all these small companies ran out of money.
Yeah.
And I just said, screw it. I'm done with all this consulting shit. Let me now just focus on photography. Let me focus on writing. And let me start teaching photography.
Is,
Today, if you
is that
ask
when
me to
you
go,
went on Substack? Is that when you went on Substack?
I went on Substack about 2.5 years ago.
Mm.
And I actually, I was on Twitter and I saw this British journalist. She says, I'm starting a Substack.
Mm.
And I said, what the hell is this Substack thing?
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of thought it was like a shelf of, a stack of books or something. And I said, what is this Substack stuff?
Yeah.
And she said, no, it's a kind of I don't know, you can call it a writing or a microblogging or a blogging platform. And I said, okay, let me check it out.
Yeah.
And so that's when I started.
So was
And
Substack your first blog of sorts?
no, no, I have experimented with these blogs for a long time on WordPress and all
Yeah.
sorts
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
places.
Yeah.
But um, I like Substack for the way that it has evolved.
Mm.
The way that it has evolved. So, it started all the long form stuff and then they've added the notes, now the live. And now we have the live on at the desktop, which is absolutely fantastic. So it's,
Yeah.
kind of evolving. And practically every blogging platform allows you to speak in your own voice.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to actually start speaking my own voice, because when you're in the corporate world for 24, 25 years, you get so used to corporate speak
Yeah.
and being politically correct that, it takes a long time to get that thing out.
Yeah.
And so one of my own self critiques about the podcast stuff, which I started, it took me a long time to actually to drum up the confidence to do a podcast because I recorded my voice, listened to myself, and I said, "Holy hell, I sound boring." And I said, "I sound really, really boring." I said, "I would fall asleep listening to myself talk."
We are so self-critical. My wife knows that
Hmm.
I struggle to do what I'm doing right now. She's actually on the chat right now. I'm surprised she
Hmm.
joined. But it's let me tell you, like I went through all the stuff that you've written, and I want to talk about all the variations of
Hmm.
stuff you write about, the photography, the podcast. I mean, the first impression was you are meant for podcasting. Your voice, you're calm and composed. So I think you're being self-critical, which we all are towards ourselves. Mark, my friend, is on the chat. He knows we've struggled with this since 2011 with many things. But I think we're very self-critical. I just want to tell you, you sound awesome on your podcast, which is called Dusty Mike Chronicles, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the YouTube version, Dusty Lens
Lens
Chronicles,
chronicles.
and you do a lot of voiceover to all the stuff that you in
I do. I
explain.
started that recently.
It is it sounds great, is all I want to say, right? So please don't think it sounds boring. You don't.
Okay, thanks. It's good to hear that. But I started the voiceovers recently, and I just it started actually. I used to subscribe to The Economist once upon a time.
Mm.
Um, Now I don't follow what do you how do you call it, official news very much. I mean, official news channel.
Mainstream media news, is that?
Mainstream. Yes, I don't follow that very much, whether it's the West or whether it's Indian.
Mm.
Um, I just think that they're all following an agenda.
Yeah.
That's what I personally think.
Yeah.
So, and I do follow geopolitics, and very selfishly, like I told a German friend of mine, I follow geopolitics because I'm primarily interested in how it affects my country.
Mm.
Primarily, because in the end, I can't influence global events,
Yeah.
but I can at least try to mitigate any potential damage that happens to us.
Yeah.
But also, you know, um, my own journey in street photography and other concerns about photography. So, when I started on the streets, I was like any good corporate guy or any good tourist who would walk onto the streets, capture photographs of poor people and say, "You've done a great job, Rajiv. You have captured great, authentic photographs capturing poor homeless people."
Mm.
And so several years later, when I showed one of my pictures to somebody, and it was a nicely framed photograph, and I thought, I'm going to get showered with all sorts of praise. And this person said, eh. And I said, what do you mean, eh? He said, don't you think that you are exploiting this poor person's misery?
Hmm.
And I said, huh. I didn't say huh to him. I said huh to myself. To him, I said,
Yeah.
I think you're talking crap. I went into to go counterattack mode. But I said huh to myself, and I said, have I been indulging in poverty porn?
Mm.
And then when I started taking photographing people on the street, I said, we are actually visitors on the street. There are many people in India who live their lives on the street. They sleep there, they work there, they bathe there, they do all their other stuff there. We visit them.
Yeah.
And we have no business actually looking down at them. We have no business in invading their privacy. So then I started to actually try to capture let's say, the innate dignity in every human being.
Okay.
That's what I started trying to do.
Mm.
Since COVID, I've changed again because I have sensed that the world has changed. Inequality has risen. And even though people like you and me who are still reasonably well off, not compared to Elon Musk, of course, compared to Elon Musk, we are little, I don't know,
Yeah.
little beggars compared to him. But,
Yeah.
we don't influence things. We live on the margin. So
Yeah.
now I kind of put people more and more on the margin because that's what I want to kind of depict. And everything changes. And, recently I just suddenly woke up and I said, so I live in this area and
Which is Delhi,
I'm
right? You're in Delhi. You're in Delhi.
in Gurgaon, which is next to
Gurgaon.
Delhi.
Yeah.
So I lived in Gurgaon in 1992. Then I left Delhi for 20 years and I came back in 2012. And where I lived, about 5 kilometers or 6 kilometers from where I live now, everything was forest. So where I live now was forest.
Mm.
Next to me is the forest, and the forest is receding. And about a week ago, the Supreme Court of India has made a ruling that threatens the entire ancient Aravali forest belt. And I've been kind of toying with the idea of photographing the Aravali before it disappears. Now, suddenly struck me that, hell, if the Supreme Court has opened up the Aravalis to mining, it's going to disappear bloody fast. And, next generations won't even know that there was a forest here.
Yeah.
So,
And this is the festival. This is the festival you went to, right?
Oh, I went to the Zero Music Festival.
Okay.
This is, so since you mentioned the Zero Music Festival, so I've traveled to about 30, 40 countries. My older sister has traveled to, I think, 80 maybe, but I've traveled to about 30, 40 countries. I cannot claim that I have known every single country because very often you would, in the corporate world, you touch down, go to a meeting, come back and fly out.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
if you look at your passport, you've got lots of stamps, but do you actually have deep knowledge of those countries? No. So when I left my corporate career and I went back to the streets and I suddenly said, I don't know my own country. I thought I know my own country, but I don't know my own country. So when I started tramping in India, one of the concepts that I had or thoughts that I had around it was that I have a limited time left on this earth. Why not bring my country to people outside? Why not talk about my country to people and why not explore my country?
Yeah.
So, so we have, let's say, Northeast India. The people who live in Northeast India have a more Mongoloid genetic. They come from a more Mongoloid genetic pool. They have those slanted eyes.
Yeah.
The way that many people in the Far East have, and unfortunately, many people in Delhi, for instance, refer to them as Chinese or Chinese.
Yeah.
But it is an absolutely beautiful part of the country. It is stunning.
Yeah.
So I will be so my one of my so I thought when I started listing down where I want to go in India, I listed down a whole bunch of places: North India, Northeast India, parts of North India, my state Punjab,
Yeah.
and I suddenly said, "Damn, I still don't have enough time in my remaining years to explore India."
Yeah.
So this leaves out most of South India. This leaves out a lot of Eastern and saying, what is wrong? Why would I want to go overseas if I don't know my own country?
Yeah.
So that was why I called it tramping in India rather
Yeah.
than.
It resonates with me because my wife and I, we talk about traveling to multiple places, and we were fortunate enough to go to many places, but we haven't seen most of India. Like I've been to Delhi and the north a couple of times. Like when I was a kid,
Mm.
I've been there. You mentioned 1983 when you actually bought that Nikon. I was actually
And I
in
bought the Olympus.
the Olympus from the street vendor. I think in Mumbai,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Incidentally, I was there in Mumbai at the time.
Hmm.
I was just talking to my parents this morning about when I had visited India, and I was 6 years old. So obviously, you look a lot younger than me right now, but I was 6 years old.
I'm
Uh,
65, by the way.
yeah, so I look 75 probably. But anyway, uh, age aside, I was there in India, in Mumbai at that time, and just visiting North India because my uncle.
Hmm.
Uh, Took us around North India back then. So I have photographs from then, and we went to all these places. So apart from that one time, and then I think after my college, after my engineering, my friends and I did a whole North Indian trip.
Hmm.
I got to go to Punjab, Chandigarh, Haryana. It was a trip that I was talking to one of my friends earlier this week about how it was the most amazing trip from Delhi to Haryana, where we stopped
Hmm.
in the middle. They stop for this food dhaba, so the bus only stopped once in the middle of the
Hmm.
journey, and then we got all that rich food with all the ghee and
Oh, yeah, yeah.
naan and butter chicken, and then all I remember was getting on the bus, and then I don't remember the rest of the journey because you just sleep it off. The food in
Mm.
that part of the country is so rich and tasty, and it was just I remember that, and then we went all the way to Simla and then came back. So these are the few times that I actually got to go, and my wife hasn't been there. And we don't prioritize it. Every time we go to India, the problem is we don't have enough time, and which we have to change, right? Like you said, the beauty of India and what we call incredible India, I think we haven't experienced as Indians as much. And I'm glad through photography you're able to do that. You're able to travel. So how do you plan your travel schedule? So you went to the Zero Festival, which I know Times of India is that the one that Times of India picked up and you wrote in Times of India
Yeah,
for?
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, was that the first Times of India article you published, or are you a
Yep, that is
regular?
the first. That
Okay.
was the first.
Yeah, tell me more about that. Tell me more about the Zero Festival, and then I've seen some of the videos, like you narrate through it. Um, but how did that experience go for you?
Well, the Zero Music Festival. So let me first talk about Arunachal Pradesh, which is in northeast India. It's the northernmost part of northeast India. It's the state that the Chinese refer to as Zhangnan.
How do you call it?
Zhangnan. Nan
Zhang.
is south,
Mm,
and they say so. They refer to this as South Tibet.
okay.
That's what, and they like to claim it as South Tibet. So I need to go back to 1988.
Okay.
Okay. And whichever city I have been, I've always found a lab that processes black and white. So when I was in Delhi in 1988, I was transferred here for a few years. And so I found this lab in Connaught Place in central Delhi. And that guy was a fantastic photographer. I think I think he's passed away now.
Mm.
And one day he and I got talking, and then he showed me the pictures that he had taken in Arunachal Pradesh. And I said, "Holy hell, I have to visit this place someday." And that was in 1987. And it was finally 2 years ago that I visited Arunachal Pradesh for the first time.
Mm.
And so I visited West Arunachal Pradesh, which is in the what is called the West Kameng district. And in that area, they are Buddhists.
Okay.
Okay, so the Dalai Lama, when he escaped from China, came across the border in 1959 to a town called Tawang.
Tawang.
That's Tawang.
Mm.
And that was, again, one of the sites of the 1962 war that we had with China. So he came to Tawang. Now he has his headquarters, if you want to call it, in Himachal Pradesh, which is North India,
Yeah.
in a town called Macleodganj. So that whole area is very Buddhist. So Tawang is Buddhist. The sixth Dalai Lama was born in Tawang.
Mm.
And so we traveled around. And so I said to myself, I need to visit Northeast India a lot more. So I used to visit the state of Assam in Northeast India in the mid 90s. And at that point, it was very disturbed in the sense that there was this group called ULFA, the Ultra Liberation Fighters of Assam.
Mm.
Pretty violent kind of bunch of guys, but they were fighting for their rights. And so whenever I was living in Calcutta those days, whenever I would travel to Assam, I would tell my wife, bye bye, I don't know if I'm going to come back alive. So, and she was, of course, she was paranoid, but so I didn't know. So, like, there was one particular time when we were walking along the market, and my sales guy said, "Let's go to the other road," which was lucky because the road that were originally planning, the bomb blast there 5 minutes later.
Oh my God.
So,
Jeez.
yeah, yeah. So I never really knew if I'd ever come back alive from those visits, but I still love the place. And so we went there. So a year back, a friend of mine who loves music started speaking about the Zero Music Festival. And so I said, okay, so I Googled the place. I said, wow, this is worth it. Let's go. So we made the plan literally on a whim
Mm.
1 year ago. And so four of us went along in September. So now Northeast India has several music festivals. They're very musical. Huh? They have a lot of music festivals.
Yeah.
And oh yeah,
Some
and
of their music is amazing. I recently
it is
started.
amazing.
Yeah.
Mm. I'm having some rum, by the way. So
I mean, it's late in India, so you can. I'm having coffee, so it's just beginning of our day.
yeah. So we went. So four of us went to Zero,
Yeah.
and so I have known this guy, one particular guy called Ashok, for ever since 1988.
Yeah.
We were living as paying guests in Delhi.
Mm-hmm.
I was living in a garage, and he was living in the tiny room above the garage.
Mm.
Then he got married, and he moved out, and then I moved above the garage, and we've been friends since then. And he was in the Times of India. Now he's a consultant to him.
Ah.
So kind of through his good offices, I kind of got to write this article for Times.
Yeah.
And I told him the next time you travel up, you must do some more.
Yeah.
And Zero and the whole area it's incredible. If I were to, let's say, describe it in capitalist terms, if I were to
Yeah.
describe Arunachal Pradesh in capitalist terms, I would say, A, this is a shithole. And B, this is ripe for development, which means stripping away nature and building dams and roads and hotels and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But if you flip the description of the development and say nature should include clean environment, you know, I mean, if you say development should include the environment, nature, the rivers, the people,
Mm-hmm.
and then you say, wow, it is development, but in a different way.
Yeah.
So the Zero Music Festival, it started about 10, 12 years ago by these guys who wanted a platform for independent artists.
Mm.
And So it's been going on for about 10 years or so. And unfortunately, this year they refused to let me take my camera into the ground. So I had to
Oh.
use my mobile phone only, which was a bit of a pain, but that's the way that life is. And then you kind of learn, by the way. So we went to one of they have two artificial lakes in Zero. So we went to one of them. And I was sitting on a little stool on the hillside drinking my chai. And there's this man sitting next to me. And we started talking. It turned out that he was a local politician. And I just said, so all you people from Arunachal are Buddhists. And he jumped up and says, no, we are not Buddhists. Only the people from West Kamen, which is Tawang, they are Buddhists.
Mm.
I said, what are you? He said, we are animists.
Okay.
I said, seriously? He said, yes. He said, we believe in nature. We worship nature.
Wow.
And I said, that's fantastic. I mean, this is absolutely brilliant. So when we went to the Hong village, so in Zero, there are these villages. So the largest is one called Hong village.
Mm.
And, if you kind of go back to that blog post, should I post it here?
I actually did post it. Yeah, I posted the Times of India article actually. It's for
No, I'm trying to go back to the Hong village thingy.
okay.
I need to find where it is actually. Yeah, here it is, Hong village. Here it is. There it is.
Yeah.
So, one of the houses, they have a flag, and the
Mm.
flag has the symbol of the sun. So they worship the sun and the moon.
Mm.
And all of their festivals actually kind of are centered around nature and the old traditions and all that.
Mm.
And when I came back to Delhi and the day after Diwali, all of us were very depressed because the AQI had gone to something like 600 or 700 and some 1000. And then I just decided to depress myself further. I decided to to figure out what the AQI in Zero was. And
Mm.
the AQI was 8. And I looked again, I said, 8.
And you're
I
coming
said,
from Delhi, which
and I said, what am I doing in Delhi with an AQI of almost 1,000 when I could be in Zero in an
yeah,
AQI of 8?
yeah,
And so one of the girls I met in Arunachal, she came over to Delhi and she managed to get back up. There's a lot of chaos with the flights.
mm.
And I said, when are you back? We'll catch up when you're back. And I told her, and I explained that my wife's foot is broken. She says, I am not coming back. I said,
Yeah,
why not?
with the
He said, Delhi
pollution.
is so polluted. I don't want to come back to the pollution.
My God,
And
yeah, yeah.
but that's just the way that life is in Delhi. So for me, photography and writing is a lot to do with, let's say, capturing people.
Mm.
And a lot of my writing has to do with actually exploring the history of my country.
Yeah.
Um, that's what it has to have. That's what it is for me about. And a lot of my photography increasingly is going to be around capturing nature as well and the beauty of nature.
So how do you plan? Like, so now you don't you have you're all off the corporate life. You pretty much focus entirely on this, right? On your travels and your photography, right?
Yeah,
Is that a true statement? Yeah.
that is correct. And of course, I teach a bit of photography now.
Yeah.
So
So you
I
so
want to
you
develop that
so
as
you
a.
go.
So how do I plan?
Yeah.
That's the question, right?
Yeah. How do you plan? And then I've seen in some of your posts or videos, I think, or even the audio ones, you take your students on the journey with you on that exploration of the city. Sometimes, like I've heard on the audio that you're talking
Yeah.
to.
So let's say I was in a place called Chandni Chowk in Delhi 4 days ago, actually 5 days ago on Sunday. And so Chandni Chowk is a market, and it's in what is called the walled city of Delhi.
Mm.
This is the capital of Shah Jahan, the Emperor Shah Jahan, and he built the city with walls around it and about 8 to 10 gates.
Yeah.
Um, Now, so sometimes I discover things quite by accident. So I discovered this book called Daughters of the Sun,
Okay.
and it's about the Mughal women.
Hmm.
And I read the book, and I kept, and right on practically every page, I kept saying, "Holy wow, holy wow, holy wow." So when we look at Muslims, we look at women who are wearing a burqa,
Yeah.
and we say that these women in the burqa are uh, oppressed. Okay, but in villages of India, women also are not supposed to show their face. They wear, they wear what's called a ghungat, which is the pallu, the sari. Are they not impressed? I mean, are they not oppressed?
Yeah.
So anyway, so I discovered that the Mughal women um, were, so until the time of Akbar, a lot of these women used to ride around on horseback.
Hmm.
When Akbar's mother was pregnant, she spent most of her pregnancy on horseback with her father, with her husband in exile.
Wow.
Um, they were builders. The women were builders. They were writers. They were traders. Um, so Shah Jahan's older daughter, a lady called Jahanara, she owned Surat port. She had a trading business. She wrote 2 books. She designed Chandni Chowk. She designed Chandni Chowk, which people don't actually know about. And she designed Meena Bazaar.
Yeah.
Aurangzeb's older daughter, woman lady called Zebun, who wrote under the pen name called Makhfi, which is the hidden one, you will find her poetry in the museum in France.
Wow.
So then I researched more and more about women in India. And, so I read about Razia Sultan, Noor Jahan, um, and of course, there's the Rani ul Jhansi. But um, not just the Mughal women, but there were a whole bunch of women who have been written out of history, which is a great tragedy, in my opinion, who were absolutely brilliant and fantastic queens. I
Hmm.
mean, I read about almost 20 women in Indian history who've been just written out
Wow.
history. And many of them actually led their armies against the Portuguese, against the Mughals. They were brilliant rulers and administrators. But you ask any person in India, and they are all clueless. I
Wow.
mean, I was clueless until I started reading. That's why I often tell myself, before you criticize other people, look at yourself as well. You know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
these women, whether they were the Hindu queens and princesses, or whether they were the Muslim queens and princesses, were actually really amazing people.
Yeah.
And
Warriors.
I am honestly convinced that it's one of the great tragedies of, at least I can talk about Indian history. I can't talk about world history. It's a great tragedy of Indian history that we have just written them out. We have literally expunged them from consciousness completely. And that's, I think, a complete shame.
Wow.
So, but in a way, I'm glad that I, go into the history when I write my blogs, because
Yeah.
it forces me to discover a lot of the past.
Yeah. So that's one thing I wanted to ask you, right? Because you stumble upon these through your exploratory kind of
Mm,
walks and travels, and then you dive deeper into it, and that's how you get to know about it, and then you're sharing it through your blog.
correct. Now, the question which I did not answer was, how do I plan my travels?
Yeah.
Um, there's no, let's say, rule that I have. There's no rule that I have. Um, so I have just, for instance, whether it's now, I look at either nature, or I look at what are relatively unexplored places. Like a lot of Northeast India is still unexplored, like Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, but they are beautiful. and I want to explore those places before, let's say, the capitalists in the world take over.
Mm.
And I was a capitalist myself, so I'm kind of gone not completely the other side, but
Yeah.
try to keep a middle ground. Then I look at so one is definitely nature. So I want to go back into the hills of
Which in Delhi is hard to do, right? Hard to
well,
see. In Delhi, it might be really hard to see nature.
impossible.
Yeah.
It's impossible. So the hills of Uttaranchal, where I grew up, the hills of and when I say hills, by the way, 2,000 meters or 6,500 feet is we refer to that as a hill,
Right.
not a mountain. Mountains
Mm.
start at 9,000, 10,000, 11,000 feet. So the hills of that, Punjab, which is my state, Northeast India. This and then the other aspect I look at a lot is history.
Mm.
So these are the two aspects, and the third is how much time do I have at my disposal? Because
Yeah.
you
And so,
can't be everywhere, unfortunately.
and with your students, I mean, do you take? I mean, is it just a solo trip that you take to these places, or you
In
do you have a
Delhi,
group?
yes, it's a solo trip.
Yeah.
It is a solo trip, and so I want to develop a course on travel photography, and I want to take them to Bharatpur and Deeg, which is about an hour and a half from Delhi.
Yeah.
So two reasons for that. One is that they are 1.5 hours is not very far.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And second, again, historically, as I discovered, there was a lady called Begum Sumru who lived in the 18th century. Uh, she's was a Kashmiri woman, and she started as her life as a nautch girl, which basically means a dancer.
Yeah.
Um, Probably became a prostitute. Married a German
Mm.
in India. There were a lot of European mercenaries in India on that time.
Yeah.
So she married a German person, and he died. And she set up her own mini kingdom in Bharatpur, had her own army, and she started off as a prostitute. Um, and she became the protector of the Mughal emperor at the end of the 19th century.
Mm.
So, and she was a little, tiny little woman, about 5 foot nothing. And again, when I read her history, I thought, wow, this woman was something. And she has her old, I mean, she had her home in a place which is now called Bhagirath Palace.
Mm.
Bhagirath was the name of a trader, which is now completely a building which is dedicated or taken over by these people who sell electrical stuff.
Mm.
But Bhagirath Palace was her home in Delhi. Nobody knows that.
Wow.
So, so I look at
So you find
history.
these, yeah, you find these connections, and then you follow that trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of nature, a bit of unexplored places, a bit of history. And
Yeah.
I kind of,
Yeah.
how do I put it? I mix them up in a kind of a,
What
like
are
I kind of make them into like a mashed potato, mash them all together, like, find my path.
I've always wondered what are the some of the rules that as a street photographer in India you follow. Like I've heard some of your episodes where you're standing around, you're watching people, you're watching something, and then but then you look at the light, and you also what what kind of captures your that moment that you want to know, okay, this is one I want to capture with my camera. When do you take that camera out and then click, right? Because as you walk around
Um,
Delhi, walk around these other places, there's so many things that you see. So I'm just always in, oh, what do you see? How do you know what to capture at that point in time?
so um, I first, I normally advise people, and this is a standard photographer's advice, not something which I originated. But when you arrive at a scene, whether
Mm.
it's in landscape, whether it's in the street, look around first. Don't unzip your bag and take your camera out and announce to the world that here I am, great photographer, I have arrived, bow to me. Um, what people often forget is that, so let me just take out a camera just for the heck of it.
Yeah, yeah. We wanted to get into the gear that you have too. Yeah. So
Yeah,
please.
So I use this little camera. It's a Fujifilm X100V on the street.
You still have your old first camera with you? You
Yep.
still?
The Olympus OM2N. Oh yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I actually wanted the Olympus because I like Mount Olympus and Zeus.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Uh,
So now
yeah.
this is a small little camera. It's a very powerful camera. But the moment I put it to my eye, there's a barrier between you and me.
True.
Okay. There's a physical barrier. Even if I'm using the back screen of this camera, I'm looking into the screen.
Hmm.
Okay. I'm not looking at the crowd. I'm looking into this screen. There is a
Yeah.
barrier,
Yeah. You're not looking at the subject or the frame or anything. I mean, you are, but then not
right?
directly.
So I say, look around. Get into the place. Look at the people. Sometimes talk to the people. Sometimes I will just invite someone to have a chai
Hmm.
and I'll talk to them. You know, Mm,
Hmm.
the one great thing about being in consumer sales was that I learned how to talk to people.
Hmm.
Um, so I do that. Then I look at the light, and I look for possible stories.
Yeah.
And I look for possible stories. What what is interesting? So this last Sunday, when I was just hanging around, waiting for the students to do their stuff, I was looking around and I said, all right, let me focus on people eating and street food.
Hmm.
And then you wait for the spaces, you wait for the stories. Um, I try to avoid these photographing this beggar and this homeless person and saying, what a great capture, homeless person, authentic.
Yeah.
I try to kind of, my whole aim is treat people as people. You know, you and I meet Elon Musk. I don't think that either of us would like it if he were to treat us like a piece of crap,
True.
He will do that, but we won't like it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have to be respectful of people and their space and all that. And I always wonder, like, how do you respect that? And when you're in the street and you see that, and when you see people eating and or somebody or some space, which is again somebody's personal space, how do you get that permission,
Well,
so to speak?
very often you don't get permission, you take the image.
Hmm.
And you take the image, but you don't try to get them into an embarrassing um, position. So, like for instance, let's assume someone's eating on the street. You don't want their faces wide open, stopping their faces with something.
Hmm.
So, I photographed this family eating their lunch on the street, and you have these little stone thingies, almost like milestones in the middle of the street in Chandni Chowk, and they were each sitting on their stone little stools, if you want to call them, use the word stool. And so I photographed the family eating together but eating separately.
Hmm.
Okay. Then at one point, the daughter turned to the mother. The father turned his back at both on both of them, and each of them was doing their own stuff. And I said, okay, this is another story. If a person looks at you and says, no photo, just say no photo, walk away. Don't stick your camera into their faces and say, tough luck, baby, I am the one. Because I have noticed a big change in at least Delhi in the last decade.
Hmm.
So when I walked around the walled city for a year, about in 2013, a lot of people would look at me, they'd smile at me, I would, show them the photograph, we would chat, they would tell me about their life, we'd have a chai, we'd talk.
Hmm.
Now, well, and I don't want to say it's because of our prime minister, but I want to say that it's because a whole bunch of changes that have taken place, whether it's to do with increased surveillance,
Hmm.
whether it's to do with the increased polarization in society, whether it's to do with the increased impunity with which the police operate, whatever the reason, the combination of all of this, and the fact that we often assume that people are fools. They're not.
Yeah, they're not.
And one of the questions that people ask me is, are you from the media? And when I say I have nothing to do with the media, I'm an independent person who writes his own stories. they kind of I can see their bodies relaxing.
Hmm.
A policeman hauled me up once because he thought I'd broken a traffic rule, and I said I haven't broken a traffic rule. And then the older cop and I got talking, and then he said, "What do you do?" I said, "I'm a photographer." He took a step back and said, "Are you from the media?" I said, "No,
Hmm.
no media. I'm independent. I look at you as a human being, and that's about it." And then he kind of relaxed. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of suspicion that I find that I encounter every day. I did not encounter this suspicion over a decade ago.
Hmm.
So whether it is whatever the reason, and I don't want to kind of analyze the situation because I think any analysis that I do is going to be hopelessly incorrect anyway. But there's a lot more wariness, a lot more suspicion, a lot more stay away from me kind of.
Yeah.
So you have to respect that.
Yeah, and I think part of it might be also just this whole rise of smartphones, and then and I know when we wanted to kind of talk about this, street photography in the age of smartphones, like everybody's clicking, right? I mean, you almost become numb to the fact that everybody's taking their camera phone out and clicking, but then you see somebody with an actual camera, and then you think there's a bigger purpose, or it's a serious thing, or it's the media. Yeah, those times have changed. People are suspicious about everything, and you got to be careful about what you take. And so
Well, they're suspicious even of you if you have your mobile phone. So I took a photograph of a guy selling his stuff. Then I switched my phone to the video mode, and he looked. That's when he noticed me. And it says, no photography."
Yeah,
So I said, "Oh, no photography. I respect you." And I
yeah,
just smiled, and I said, "You know, I hope you have a good day selling your stuff." And I walked away.
yeah,
And because you have to respect their space, you have to respect their privacy. They
yeah,
have every right to their privacy. They have every right to their uh, decision to say no.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, absolutely.
um,
Yeah. We
like
don't
I'm
think about
using
that. Yeah,
Android, but Apple, the whole Apple ecosystem, Apple claims that they focus on your privacy, right? If you and I can stake our what do you call it? How should I express it? If we can stake a claim to our privacy, just because a person lives on the street, it should not blind us from the fact that they can and should stake a claim to their privacy.
hmm,
On social media, we are naked.
yeah.
On the street, they are naked. But none of us wants our nakedness to be, I don't know,
Broadcast.
propagated,
Yeah,
broadcast,
yeah,
right?
yeah. No, that's really, yeah. That it makes a lot of sense, because I always wondered, 'cause some of the captures that you take is just mind blowing in terms of what you've been able to capture and showcase, and it's so respectful, the way the way you frame it, the way you capture that emotion, capture that place. So again, I know we are almost about time,
Mhm.
but I really, I've been a follower for a long time. I hope a lot of people here now got to know about what you do, because you do, as I said in the beginning, you do quite a lot of things. Whether it's the video stuff, the podcasting, you've got the Dusty Mike Chronicles, and then you've got your street photography, a lot
Mhm.
of history. I mean, I think we learn a lot just from your writing. Larry, who's on the call here, he's the first one who told me about some of your stuff, and wanted me to interview you, and have this opportunity to kind of talk about what you do. So yeah, I mean, keep doing what you're doing, and I think
Thanks.
it's good that you're also teaching this craft. Hopefully more people in India, your students, are going to kind of be able to showcase more of India. Even if you can't get to every place, maybe your students will.
Yeah, I hope so. But we've spoken a lot about myself today. The next time around, I think I'd like to speak about you and learn about you.
Yeah, yeah, not nothing great and exciting, but I did want to let you know, you wrote a post about Qutub Minar, right? Did you write?
Yeah.
And then I was just again talking to my dad about this, because I remember in '83 going. going to Qutub Minar, and then later on asking my uncle, my dad's older brother,
Mhm.
to work for the Archaeological Survey of India. He was a
Oh, wow.
conservation engineer. So
Mhm.
I remember him telling me how they actually, fixed the lighting around the Qutub Minar, and he, there's a lot of knowledge and history that he has, and he used to share. He's old now, and but it's one of those things that I felt like, I'm learning all that now through some of your writing stuff that, like you said in the beginning, right? I mean, we don't know what's in our own backyard, and in a way, like
Yeah.
I don't know my own country. I don't know the history as much. My wife, who's on the call, who's on the chat, I mean, she knows a lot about this, but a lot of people are ignorant to what the beauty of India, the history of India, and I'm glad you're bringing all that out in Tramping with India. Tramping in India is the
Yeah.
Substack that Rajiv Chopra writes. If anybody on this chat is not following him, please do. It's a wealth of information that you can learn about India. And I
Thanks,
just want
man.
to, yeah, I want to open it
Mm.
up for anybody with questions. I know Larry, you had one or two questions.
Yeah. Can I just make a quick loo break? You don't mind?
Sure. It's, yeah, it's live, so sure.
Yeah. Everyone knows.
Larry, I know you had some questions. Did you have anything for him when he's back? You guys can use the chat. I mean, this whole new interface with Substack, which I'm trying for the first time today on the desktop, we are able to actually see the chats as you type it. We're able to answer questions. Mark, if you're still on, I was thinking about your camera collection. I know you are an avid photographer, and you've got a lot of experience starting your career as a photographer. Maybe we'll talk about that next week. But I hope this was interesting to all of you. We couldn't get this started in time, so this was the second iteration. It's supposed to be so glad you all could join. The previous hour we had 8 people join, and they got a whole different show. So this is the encore in a way. Anybody with questions, please feel to ask, and we'll have Rajiv answer, and then we will end this live. Larry has a question for you.
Yeah.
Ask if he might write a book. Yeah, I think you mentioned you're going to write some sort of or a collection of photographs, is it, or something like a
Yeah.
travel book?
So, yeah, I have been planning something, but I have, how do I say?
No, you can just tell him.
I know. So, yeah, so I have been planning something, but I've been a bit lazy, I have to say.
Yeah.
Um, so, about 7 or 8 years ago, I did a project for myself, which I put into a book, horrible book actually,
Mm.
called The Seven Cities of Delhi. So, about a year and a half ago, I thought about doing something on what I call Timurid Delhi.
Hmm?
Why Timurid? Okay, so we know the Mughals, the Mughal Empire, the Mughal dynasty, and the Mughals actually were closer to Timur than they were to Genghis Khan. So
Yeah.
the Mughal dynasty was earlier referred to as the House of Timur and not as Mughals. The
Mm.
word Mughal comes from Mongol, and now, of course, it's gone to Mughal. So I started taking pictures, and then I got very bored. I said, "This is not something which is giving me joy."
Mm.
And so now I have thought of maybe starting something which goes further back from the Mughals and actually going into the Delhi Sultanate. So the Delhi Sultanate actually is a collection of about 5 short dynasties between 1093 roughly and 1526.
Mm.
And so I know a lot of those monuments. I just bought another book called Invisible Delhi.
Hmm.
And I thought maybe I would, go and photograph those places, dig into that history,
Yeah.
and start with that period before, and then do something on the Mughals. So I bought a tilt shift lens. Luckily, my sisters and they come across twice a year, so I kind of
Get it from the
order a
US.
lens or a filter from B&H, and then they kind of bring it along.
Yeah.
And so I thought maybe I'll go back. And yes, to answer V's question, the coffee table book is the format that I have in mind.
Yeah.
Ah, if there's someone who can help me with publishing the book, that's a good question. Actually, I should get my daughter to do it because she's working for a company that actually
Yeah.
helps connect authors to publishers.
Yeah. Larry and I was we were talking about this in the previous hour. Larry's a first time author. He's got his
Yeah.
book out. It's called Myself Lost. Larry, who's never been to India, wrote about a person going to India and experiencing. It's a fictional book, but he's trying to
He
market it.
knows, Larry knows a lot more about Hindi cinema than I
Oh,
do.
oh yeah, I told him to. Larry and I had a live conversation. I think last couple of weeks ago, and he's got this wealth of knowledge and everything that he's gleaned from Hindi cinema. And although he doesn't speak Hindi, he writes beautifully about the reviews about Hindi cinema, and he knows a lot about the Bollywood actors than I do. And all this learning, I think Larry's put it into his book, which is amazing. So yeah, so he's definitely trying to figure out how to market the book. He's got two more coming, three more coming. And then
Wow.
Mark, who's on this call, I'm having a live conversation with Mark next week where we
Mhm.
talk about how he published a book. Mark has been a successful author in Tennessee. He's a close friend of mine, and we're going to talk about how the secrets of how Mark, um, being a first-time author, how he sold his book, all the marketing techniques, and he's a
So,
marketing genius.
so
He's
when
done
is
this for
that?
a long time, so that's next week. Yeah, on the 18th, Mark and I will be talking about how
Okay,
how,
that's next Thursday, right? I
Thursday.
presume.
Yeah, it should be already scheduled. He should be able to find that. And then I recently talked to another Substacker who published his first detective novel. His name is Abhijit Singh, and he
Hmm.
and I are going to set up some time to talk about his book, um, which got released recently. So I think there's a lot of experience we can share amongst just Substack writers who are most of them are authors, first time or veteran authors who
Hmm.
have a lot of valuable insight. So with these live marinated live sessions, the mixer sessions, I'm trying to bring all those conversations to light. I'm trying to learn, meet people, but kind of build a community because we know each other a lot more than we did when we were just followers and subscribers. So this is an
I
opportunity
agree with
to
you.
meet everybody. Like Larry and I
Absolutely.
didn't know before, but now we're good friends. He's text buddies with me.
Ah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, and then
Um, okay,
yeah,
be careful of the inquiries. Okay.
be careful. Okay,
Okay, that's good advice actually.
yeah. Cool. Again, yeah, the coffee table idea comes from my wife. We have a few books right here where just amazing coffee table books of friends who've taken amazing photographs of paintings and then they write about it. So those are really for you. I think that's a natural fit, right? I mean, you've
Yeah.
got these amazing photographs already. I'm sure wealth of photographs, right? And again, we didn't even get to how many you have and how you collect them and store them and this whole digital clutter that we have with our smartphones. I'm sure you organize everything beautifully, and then how you can convert all that to some sort of photo book, coffee table book with the and you've already got the writing, so just I think it'll look great. Rajiv Chopra's, I don't know, dusty pages, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I did have this thought about renaming the vlog to "Walking Along the Dusty Roads" or something like that. Keeping everything
Yeah,
along the dusty path.
dusty
But,
is the key there, right? Dusty mic, dusty lens.
yeah, I
I hope
got
you
the
get to
name
clean it
Tramping.
sometime.
I got the Tramping actually from Mark Twain and
Okay.
his book "A Tramp in Europe,"
Yeah.
"A Tramp in Germany," I think, or Europe, whatever.
Mm.
And I got the dusty lens and dusty mic thing actually from just asking random questions on DeepSeek, the Chinese version of ChatGPT.
Okay.
And I
Before
thought,
Chat
okay,
before ChatGPT got released, or
no. DeepSeek is
came
a
after
Chinese
that?
version,
Yeah, it came after
but
though, right? I don't know if it
it came
came
much
before.
after,
Okay, yeah.
and it is good actually. Yeah, it's quite interesting.
I don't. Are Chinese apps still available in India? I mean, is it made available?
Not all. So,
Hmm.
something like WeChat is out,
Hmm.
is banned, which is for me a big tragedy because I lost touch with all my Chinese friends.
Hmm.
So I always have to be careful to separate my interaction with the people with my perception of the politics of the country.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
TikTok is banned, WeChat is banned. Um,
With
so
some of it, I think is, I know we're going to different topics, but then some of it I think is good. Like
mm,
TikTok ban, I think it's good. Especially with or at least an age limitation. Like Australia just banned
yeah,
um, social media apps for anybody, any kid under 16, and um, like so basically kids under 16 cannot access it. I think they're trying to find workarounds, but which they will do. But I think in India, banning TikTok was a smart thing very early on.
yeah. In a way, yes, because there's too much addiction
Mm.
to this stuff.
Yeah.
But then you got Instagram Reels.
Yeah, and I wrote a whole article about drugs and how you find peddlers on Instagram, right? So
Oh, is that so?
it's one of my first few articles. I did a deep dive into Kerala's um, youth and how I got to talk to a social worker and got to talk to a ex narcotics officer, and we have a lot of videos too. But this was, I think, last year when I kind of got serious about Substack. I'll send it to you. Yeah.
Yeah, send it.
Um, so
But
yeah,
Kerala is one state I want to actually explore again.
yeah. No, you should. You should. Kerala is beautiful.
It is beautiful
South is beautiful, and I know Larry and I talked about how with the cinemas now becoming pan Indian, there's a lot more synergy between the South and the North, and um, so I think we are becoming kind of one India in a way more with
in a way.
that. Maybe that is a positive of social media and all this whole.
It is.
Yeah.
I think as long as politicians keep their noses out,
Yeah.
people will find ways to create bridges.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
They will find ways to create bridges. And so I have to kind of also tell you this. Um, since we're talking about bridges, um, so when I was in my corporate world, I went to Dubai to meet our Pakistani distributor, and big tall guy with a big beard, your typical mullah beard, if I use that
Yeah.
expression.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's a Punjabi. And to me, he says, "You're Punjabi?" And I said, "Yes." He started talking to me in Punjabi. And I said, "Hey, dude, I don't understand Punjabi." Okay, now I speak Punjabi, but then I didn't.
Mm.
And by the way, on that matter, I decided to learn to study Persian next year
Oh, nice.
because the three languages that my dad learned were Persian, Punjabi, and English.
Ah.
So anyway, so we got talking, and then told him that my dad grew up in this district, in this Sargodha district, gave him the name of the actual village, and the mom grew up in Lahore. And, we bonded. And even now we are friends. He and I kind of WhatsApp each other even now.
Mm.
So he went back. He was living in Karachi those days. Now he's back to his hometown, Lahore. He went back to Karachi, sent someone to my dad's village. My dad's village was Mitra Tamana in about 1,000 kilometers north of Karachi.
Mm.
Sent someone there. They made a video of the entire village, and accidentally they even photographed my dad's old home, which he had not seen since partition,
Mm.
and he sent it
Wow.
to me.
Wow. That's amazing. Did you post? Did you write a post about it? Or
I think I have written, but so even so, it's an emotional memory because
yeah. Yeah.
for my dad, Okay, I'm getting emotional now. He saw the video, and 2 months later, he died.
Oh, really sorry to hear that.
Well, actually, no, because for him, it was seeing his home.
Hmm. After such a long time.
So, which is why I say that if you leave people alone,
Hmm.
they will find ways to form bridges. They will find ways to form friendships. So, Shamsuddin and I, um, we are, and one reason why I started learning Punjabi actually was because I promised him I'd learn Punjabi.
Hmm.
So he's Pakistani, but to me, it doesn't matter. He's just my friend.
Yeah. And you still WhatsApp friends. You still,
Yeah, yeah.
it's amazing.
We WhatsApp each other, and we wish each other on our festivals.
Hmm.
Yesterday, I sent him a photograph of my mother. So you will find a way to connect.
Yeah.
As humans, we will find a way to connect. As long as
There's no
our great
interference.
leaders
Yeah.
just leave us alone.
Yeah. Which is the sad part, right? In India, that's been the problem.
Yeah, there is a problem. It's a problem, I think, in many countries now, this
Yeah. No,
polarization.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So that's just the way that it is, huh?
Yeah. No, really, thank you for sharing that. I mean, I know it was a tough memory. But I really want to read about it. I mean, you've posted about it. I will look for that post. I want to see that old house. The house will
No,
be.
I don't have that house on the video. I will dig it
Yeah,
out and make a post in that house.
you should definitely, right. I mean that. Right. I find it really tough to share or be more vulnerable with my posts, and it's some of those, and I'm trying hard to get there. Um, but
It took me a long time, huh?
yeah,
It took me a very long time to get there.
yeah,
It took me a very, very long time.
yeah.
So, but it's nice if you can be there once in a while.
Larry Singh, that's the title for your book.
Yeah, it's a good idea actually. It's a good idea.
Bridges. Yeah, yeah. Cool.
People will build bridges. Yeah.
All right. So
Okay.
I guess we call it. Thank you so much
Yes.
for coming back
Thanks a lot.
and starting this live. And I really enjoy talking, and I'm glad everybody stuck around. Glad to
Yeah,
see
me too.
a lot of friendly faces, and glad my wife could join. So which she's
Me
gonna.
too.
But thank you so much. I'll talk to you offline.
Yep. Sounds
Hope
good.
hope your family recovers. Your wife
They
and your
will
son.
recover. They will
Make
recover.
sure, like you said in the beginning, they time it so that they don't kind of break their foot or anything at the same time. So you're not the only one running around.
Yeah, I will tell them to check my schedule next time.
All right, cool. Take care. It was great talking to you, Rajiv.
Take care.
We'll
Thanks
stay
a
in
lot.
touch. Yeah.
We will.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.